I thought I'd, try to mac on chicks by making a little my own drive-in movie theater situation. Put it up above the car,
I don't hate the idea.
Yeah. Turn the car on, let them get sleepy from the...
99.
Like that? That's vintage exhaust.
Yeah, that's a good shit. No catalytic converter. Welcome back to FTP Speed Shop PodCast, a podcast where we talk about what you talk about in the garage because, hey, we're in the garage. I'm your host, Mike Early, and today I've got my good buddy Hensley with me. How you doing today?
Good. Happy to be here. What's
Good.
up, bud?
So, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, No Coast Customs, in Rod Shop, actually. I kind of fucked that up a little bit. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, No Coast Custom and Rod Shop. They are premier custom hot rod building shop in Lincoln, Nebraska, and very proud to have them sponsor this episode. So if you need any hot rod custom paint work done, hit them up. Go find Ben there at No Coast Custom. Anyways, all right, now we can get back into it. So what are you working on in the garage today? What are you working on in the garage?
I'm still tackling the drum brakes on my 61 old Starfire.
61 old Starfire. What is that?
As far as I know, I've been doing some research. They're pretty rare. There was only 7,604 of them made. It was one of GM's first cars they ever released with the floor shifter on an automatic. It was Oldsmobile's approach at kind of tackling the Corvette and the Cadillac at the same time. So they were after the luxury sports car. So they put the 394 Oldsmobile Rocket, 6.5 liter, 10-to-1 compression, and then just bells and whistles all throughout. They only made them in convertible in 61. So it's got, electric vent windows and cruise control. There's even a Phototronic eye on the dash that dims the headlights. They're a pretty unique car.
So it's kind of like the big boat Cadillac type thing with all the bells and whistles, but with a big motor and the horsepower.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you were to see one, it was when they started. They took out fins for this car. There's no fins on this car like there was a lot in 61 and 60 and 59. And then when you look at them, you can kind of see the similarities where later on they started taking the Impala, and that's where they kind of got a lot of, from what I understand, a lot of the influence for the Impala later on to get rid of the big fins and stuff like that. It was kind of, Oldsmobile, I guess, was kind of the guinea pig of GM, before they used stuff on Cadillac, they tried out on Oldsmobile. So it's kind of fun. You see a lot of weird stuff.
Wacky stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
What the hell were they thinking? But that's cool. I've never seen something like that.
My it was supposed to be the car of the future. My tail lights look like rocket cones. It's called the Starfire. Everything's cosmic, and it's kind of
a lot of that stuff in the 50s and 60s was all futuristic and space type stuff. They just wanted their fascination with going to the moon and going into outer space.
Yeah, the 50s was like avionics, and then the 60s was intergalactic. They were trying to be cosmic and Starship, Buck Rogers, all that stuff. I think it's pretty rad.
So you also have a Jeep that's LS swapped.
Yes, yeah, that it's a long-standing work in progress. I mean, it runs and drives, and I drove it for a year and a half. But 76 Cherokee that I put a 5.3 and a 4L60E in. That's been absolutely awesome because it gets 22 miles to the gallon and it looks like it gets 10. So and it sounds great, and it's fun to drive. It's a winter hot rod in a sense.
Was that your first kind of like big motor swap car?
That was my first motor swap of anything. I mean, that was like, I went from like broke ass changing my own alternators to taking on a bunch of guys tell me like, dude, just watch YouTube videos and Facebook.
Just YouTube, it's that easy.
And then I got so far into it, I had to finish it to keep going to work in it, so I did it.
That's the worst. Like when you're like, oh, it's gonna only take a weekend or whatever, it'll be easy swap, and it's your daily driver, or and then all this next thing you know, it's Sunday night at 5:30 and you still don't have the motor in. You're like, well, I'm either walking to work tomorrow or going to try to catch a ride with somebody. This is
or you look at the early pictures of the project when you start it and yourself, and you're looking at the pictures like, wow, I didn't have any gray hair when I started this project. That's
great.
This
was supposed to be an easy project. That's how the Prelude is snowballed. It was supposed to be just, I should easily be able to get this thing done in a year. I think I've laid underneath the dash like the last 2 weeks trying to sort out why certain things aren't working, and I'm trying to get everything to work on it. That's my goal. But any car that I take apart and put back together, the horns never work on it. I cannot make the horn system work. That's the one thing that's left on that car that doesn't work. I've fucked with it for 5 hours, crawling under the dash, changing out the relays, doing all this, that, the other. All the fuses are good, chasing wires. No, just might not have a horn.
Yeah, with my Starfire, it's got one button you can press to make the horn work, and there's one you can just slam and get it to work. But the horn sounds like shit, and that's where it sits.
Yeah, so I got 2 buttons on the steering wheel, or is it like...
Yeah, it's got the 2 buttons on the steering wheel and the kind of a optical illusion in the center where it looks like you're looking almost... To get to the emblem, it looks like it's, a foot or two
down the tunnel or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. What got you into cars? Why did you even, like, if you just started a motor swap and doing all that stuff not that long ago, what was...
My dad. I grew up my dad was a car salesman when I was a kid. Grew up in a small agricultural town or Central City over by Grand Island, and everybody was a gearhead. That was back when everybody could change their own oil. So
yeah, easy to work on the cars too, compared to everything nowadays where you have to have some sort of a scan tool, whatever,
plastic removal system, and, so my dad take me over to Whitey Larson's and Jimmy Lee Flagle's, and he drank beer in a bunch of garages with guys that were all gearheads and stuff like that, Baja trucks and river jeeps. That was a big thing in my area, so just kind of got into it. Just always have a fascination with a time gone by, antiques, stuff like that. And yeah, so I stumbled on that Starfire, had to grab it, stumbled on the 76 Cherokee, grabbed it, and I just love them. I love the nostalgia. I love the smiles per mile. When I first heard that saying, I thought that was because every mile I drove it, I would smile. And it's all the smile. It's not. It's definitely not. A lot of people see you and they smile, and you're sitting there going, just get home. Just make it home. I don't need some derelict dude putting this on a flatbread, fucking it up anymore than I already did. Yeah, so it's fun, man.
That's true. I never really thought about that. Smiles per mile. I always kind of thought about like when I got the supercharger on the Chevelle, and every time I floor it, I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
But no, usually people are flipping me off because it's too loud or something. So
yeah, if we had to put smiles per mile in it after what we put through putting them together, we'd get probably like 0.08 miles per smile. Yeah,
tears per mile would be way higher, or blood from punching it.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, God. But it's fun, man. I love the challenge. I like putting it together. I like researching. I like finding how this car was related to this car, or this designer came over here, or this company switched hands, or the influence of World War II and the lack of metal, and what was going on in politics and how it influenced the car, or the changing of the times. It was all pretty.
That was it. Ralph Nader's book, Not Safe at Any Speed, or something like that. Was that the one that kind of started with all of the safety restraints and emissions and all that stuff in the 70s? Unsafe at any speed, I think it was.
Yeah, and then that's when they started like crumple zones and unibodies, right?
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Started having to have like the foam bumpers, and then that's where we started getting away from the cool chrome, just big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just so cool.
Even as rare as that Starfire is, it's like if I hit anybody today, I'm just gonna drive away.
Well, not just drive away, but yeah.
I got to leave some information. It's the only car like it in town, so they'll know who it was.
That's true. Yeah. Did you get that car locally?
Yeah, I found it. Bought it from Jay Carter. His grandpa bought it 60 years ago, in 1961. It's kind of a neat story. I did some research. I didn't have to do a lot of research. Talked to Jay about it and stuff. Kind of did some brainstorming when I was thinking about it, because Jay was telling me that his grandpa bought it for his grandma in 1961. Jay also told me that he was 60, so I bought it last year. The car is 60. He's 60.
He had one owner car, basically.
One family.
Yeah.
The Carter family. They own Carter Refuse here in town. They also, I believe, I think he was from, or he married into the refuse industry, but his family owned Havelock Lumber.
Okay.
Or her family did.
That's fucking crazy. Because that board right there, that's below that wheel there.
It does say half-block lumber.
That was in the basement of the house before when we redid the foundation. They must have had something come in on a pallet.
Yeah,
and they took the pallet apart and made shelves out of it. So the shelves that were sitting in the very back corner, I thought that was so cool because it's, who knows how old it is, from the 50s or 60s or something probably, or maybe the 40s.
Picture of that, give it to Jay.
And that's kind of crazy. Small world, I guess.
Yeah, his grandpa bought it because his wife, grandma, had not yet driven a car, and that was, the sign of the times. It was something that wasn't that big a deal. Either it was unladylike or too intimidating or whatever it was, or she, just a little on the bougie side. She's like, "You drive me."
Yeah.
Well, he went to the dealership. The Starfire was a dealer order, special order from the dealer, from the factory by the dealer to put on the showroom. So that's why it has the electric vent windows and the twilight mist lavender
so it's got
color. They dialed it in, everything but AC, which I happen to find a 61 Oldsmobile AC. I'm pretty proud of to try to put in there in the next year or two. He bought it, and I was doing some thinking, and I was like, well, that would have made, she must have been around in her 40s, because I asked Jay, and I was like, are you the youngest or whatever? It's the same year he was born. And he says, no, I have older brothers and stuff. So this woman had already been a grandma. She was in her 40s. She had still not driven a car. So he went to the dealership, and being a lumberyard guy or whatever this guy was, the salesman made a crack and said, oh, get away from that Starfire. Let's go look at something a little more in your price range, bud. And so he basically gave him
him every single time.
Yeah,
that's the best sales tactic ever, because, you insult somebody's pride. You're like, you know what? I don't know. I can't afford it. You're right. Fuck you. I'm buying it anyway.
Yeah, so he went up and, I guess he went home and actually got into the mattress safe. The sign of the times they got the money out of the mattress, came for $4,600. It was the most expensive car.
Damn, $4,600. That's a
$46,000 car, today, or $80,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was an expensive car back then.
Yeah, could you imagine it? Well, they took it home. He said, fuck you. If I was him, I wouldn't have bought it from the same salesman. I would have gone to the other salesman, like, hey, I'll take that. Yeah.
Go get Greg over there.
Yeah, the youngest guy, or some the worst salesman. He bought it and took it home, and Grandma took one look at it and said, nope. She still didn't drive it. She ended up not driving until Grandpa died. She never got a driver's license till then. So that car sat in the garage for 60 years, and they only drove it for roughly 17 to 1,800 miles per year. So only got 101K on it. So
that's pretty crazy. But that was definitely a sign, or that was something that happened back in the day, because my grandma, till the day she died, never drove a car, never pumped gas in a car. She walked to the grocery store even after Grandpa died. And he died about when I was born, like 83, 84, 82, I don't know, somewhere in there. And she lived up until 2012, I think. Never, ever drove a car.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So,
well, now it seems like, from what I hear from parents at my barbershop, it's kind of leaning back that way. The kids don't want to drive because they have to put their phones down. They'd rather just have their parents drive.
Yeah, no, it definitely is true. Like, for me, I like riding a bike. The second I learned how to ride a bike, that was freedom.
Yeah.
And then the second I could drive a car, it was like even more freedom. Now my area I could go just expanded. My horizon just opened up.
Absolutely. I always joke about this with the guys in the barbershop. I was like, when I was 12, I knew exactly my top 3 colors of Lambo I would accept when I was 16. And if they wouldn't do Lambo, 911 Porsche until we found one, or a Corvette, if that was the case,
Boy, you really had big dreams.
Oh, we all did. We all wanted that Miami Vice Testarossa, that Ferrari on Miami Vice. And we all thought, Dad always pays the bills. I mean, he's got money for a Lambo,
Yeah, I always remembered when, I thought I was going to retire when I was 40. Oh, boy, I got just over a year to get that done.
Yeah.
Or like once because when you're growing up and you hear like 40,000 was like a really good wage when you were young or whatever, so I had that in my mind. And then once I hit that, I was like, wow, I'm broker than I was making 30,000.
Yeah, you get a little big in your britches on spending once in a while.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, kids these days are delayed, retarded, not like mentally retarded. They're just behind the times.
scary.
I don't read books. I listen to books because at work or whatever, I can't like be thumbing through pages, and I don't poop enough to get through a book in a timely manner. So, The Great Coddling of the American Mind, that was a pretty interesting book to listen to, and it talks about how all the kids with the helicopter parents and our generation, and how the TV shows like Unsolved Mysteries and what was the one where that guy was every single night he would go on there and tell about all the criminals, the fugitives.
America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah. I can picture
show,
the guy. I can hear
yeah.
his voice. I can't remember his name, though. Gray hair.
Unsolved Mysteries, all those shows about people getting their kids stolen or murders or all that stuff. Well, all the moms kind of latched onto this, and they started thinking we live in a really dangerous world, even though today the world's a whole lot safer statistically than it was even back when we were growing up, in the 80s and 90s, and how they kind of helicoptered and protected them. They wouldn't let them ride their bike, across a street or across busy streets. So they wouldn't let them make the mistakes you make when you're 12 years old or 10 years old. And they start making those mistakes now when they're 16 and 17 years old. They are
and it
scared
rattles
to drive,
their cage.
Yeah, they're scared to drive a car because they don't need to drive a car, because they don't need that freedom, because mom's there or dad's there to cart them around and drive them wherever they want to go. And so it delays them, retards their mental fortitude and just like decision-making skills. And so now they're 30 years old, and they're finally getting to the place where a 21-year-old would have been, a generation, 2 generations ago.
Yeah, I feel like you see it like a lot. Like look at the amount of Karens out there. It's not because everybody's just filming these Karens and these Kyles freaking out. I just think it's because there's just so much immediate gratification that when one thing goes remotely off the rails at the quick stop or anything like that, they don't have the mental fortitude anymore to deal with it. These are 35-year-old people, 28-year-old men and women that when something goes wrong, like they don't have the blue slushy, these people don't know how to cope with it.
I'm not drinking a Mountain Dew slushy. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, God forbid something goes wrong in your day, and they just, they have this security blanket, of grabbing that phone and going, oh, well, I could just go to my happy place on Instagram and then, don't have to live life when you can just go through the Havasu Falls or skydiving on Instagram or Facebook and, absorb other people's life experiences.
Is it because we don't have any real problems? Like, America's out of problems. Like, we don't have to, for the most part, we don't have to worry about food. We got all the food we can eat. We don't have to worry about, bills and all this stuff. You have to worry about it, but money is pretty abundant. Everybody lives pretty well. We all live like kings, basically.
I agree.
So we don't have the hardship that we had. People don't die as often, so you don't feel that. I don't know, like
general sense of urgency to live life.
In pain, you grow every time something bad happens or you have pain in your life. It toughens you up, strengthens you. Maybe it makes you have a better ability to cope with stuff and handle things. I don't know. We're just out of problems. We don't have sacrifice and issues in our life anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, everything's done to us. I mean, could you imagine if you had to sit down and could you balance a checkbook?
Yeah, I could, just for the simple fact that I run a business, so I have to kind of keep track of numbers a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
Could I
without a calculator?
Yeah, I'd do it on a spreadsheet or something where I just do equal sum, or whatever. And that,
it's you think about those stupid skills. My mom, even if she spends money digitally, she gets out her little checkbook register and
I remember my mom.
Online, yeah,
my mom like once every Sunday night or whatever would sit down and
my mom wants to get audited.
Balance the checkbook. Yeah, she's like,
just so she can have somebody go, wow, you got every penny.
Yeah, one of the podcasts I listened to, he's a conservative guy, so he got audited. He got on the radar and got audited. I don't know if it had anything to do with him being conservative or not, but he's been audited like 3 times. And one of the times they said he overpaid by 5 cents, and then the other time they're like, yeah, you shorted us on a penny or whatever. Like his numbers were perfect, and he just kept getting audited because they couldn't stick him, and they finally gave up, I guess.
God. Yeah, you know, I feel like I'm a stickler on my taxes in case anybody's watching.
Oh shit, we use the keywords, the hit words, the IRS and auditing,
which is a wonderful organization.
Absolutely.
Really, I
really
could,
one of my favorite governmental
you know,
organizations.
sometimes I just pop down to the federal building just to say hi and be like, "Hey, fellas,
hey, thanks for all the stuff you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, gosh,
so great. Yeah.
Woo, I love losing sleep over you guys for no reason, really. You know,
Yeah,
but
no, you know, sometimes I just think of ways I can give them more money. You know.
I like to bring them sandwiches and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Hey, you guys just remember when you draw my name out of the basket, I'm the guy that brought you sandwiches.
Yeah. Donuts brought to you by Hensley's Barbershop.
They're like, all right, this guy's doing
And I'll be
something.
writing these off, too.
Yeah, see here, you wrote off a lot of donuts. Yeah, you assholes ate all those.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's like just stuff like that, though. I mean, the lack of things that tasks that people take on and do, you know, it's crazy, you know. I mean, we don't go and pay bills, we don't write checks and put them in the mail as much anymore. Everything's automated.
Yeah, I've almost
thing,
done online bill pay. Like when I started actually having to become an adult. I mean, I wrote checks out for a little while, but it was kind of like maybe a 2-3 year window where I really had to do it, and then it was all online.
Yep.
And
I just had an issue where I went out to check my mailbox. I was like, holy crap, I have not paid any bills for quite some time. I was like, well, not like checked my mailbox, and I went out there and it's empty. Usually it's like kind of some work to get everything out.
yeah.
And as I talked to the mailman the next day, and he's like, yeah, I didn't know if you even still live there anymore. It was so full, I had to take it back. And they sent everything back to the senders. And so now I had to check my mail before I left, and the mailman was outside walking. And so I had to take it up, but I was like, God, I got to get online and pay some bills because I get so caught up with doing stuff, and I'm so unused. I mean, I remember it was like, I'd pay my rent. You know, back in the day, I would pay my rent. I'd rate that rent check out. I'd get that out to the landlord. And then I would write all the checks for all the other bills and set them aside, you know, and go, you know, the next paycheck, go pick up my paycheck and mail those out, deposit my check, wait until everything went through or the next paycheck come in, and then drink beer. You know, and then buy beer and crap you don't need.
Yeah, I hate when... and I don't have this issue near as much as I did back in the day when I was working for the business, everything out of one checking account. But like, I'd get hounded by a sub like, hey man, I finished up. Can I get a check? Can I get a check? Can I get a check? Yeah, I'll get you a check. Hold on, you know, let me get paid from the job before I pay you. And then he's like, okay, well, I really need to pay my taxes. Can I get a check? And I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. Wrote him out a check, gave him the check. 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, hey bud, you gonna deposit that check? He's like, oh yeah, it's on my list of things. I was like, you told me you had to pay your taxes and you needed that. Yeah, I had to dip into savings, so it's not that big of a deal anymore. And I'm like, well, it is for me because
I'm sitting here with $6,000 in my account that's not mine, and that's
been
deadly.
spending money off of that, and you need to, you know, go to the damn bank and deposit the damn check. For fuck's sake, you want me to go? I'll take it down to your bank for you.
We might have to run over another sub on the way. He's on there, you know.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I never understood that. I guess maybe I run everything so tight that when I get a check, I'm like, yep, take it down to the bank.
We have multiple kids in Brandy, so you know, you cash them, she spends them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we all we all have our issues with spending money.
Oh yeah, it's scary sometimes stupid shit I buy.
Especially when you get into a project, like when you buy a new car or whatever, and you're all gung ho and fired up.
The rabbit hole, man, it starts at the wallet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a rabbit hole right now. I was just talking to Spike, and he was like, you're going down the rabbit hole because I got idiot lights on the Starfire, but I want to put gauges in, but I still want the idiot lights to be functional, so now I got to get a T-splitter for the oil pressure sensor and the switch, and then put that on. Well, why not get the fuel safety switch so it turns off my blah, 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 run those wires and all this stuff, and it's like, man, I'm just a set of wheels from let's tear into some more crap, you know, and oh man, it's fun though, you know. I just hate it when I buy the wrong part.
Yeah, when I do that, it ends up just, oh, I'm gonna take it back for sure, and It just sits
Nope.
on the shelf. I've got a set of brake pads for, I don't even know what they're for, but I'm never going to use them. I don't even know what they're for, but they were the wrong ones, and rather than take them back, I just put them on the shelf.
Can I bring mine over here? Because I got a set for the Buick that didn't work out.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to store any more shit. My garage is overflowing.
I'm going to do the same shady thing the guy on eBay did to sell them to me. These are for a 51 Buick. Okay, send them out.
Oh, yeah. So it could be any sort of Buick.
Or you get something that looks good and you order it, and then you get back. It's like, wow, this is really cheap. I'm not putting this on anything.
Yeah.
And it puts it on the shelf. I mean, I've only owned 2 motorcycles in my life, but I've got enough mirrors in my side view mirrors in my garage for an army of motorcycles. Because
I think you should put them all on one motorcycle.
The way I ride, I probably should. I'm not very good on those things, but they're kind of cool, so can't sell it.
Yeah, no, yours looks pretty cool. I just seen it a couple weeks ago. A month and a half ago or something. So got it all painted up and
yeah, Exotic Customs did that. That's just rad. It came out so cool.
They do a lot of really, really, really cool shit with pinstriping and the
metal flake and
the
shadowing,
lacing or whatever the hell you call it. All the different airbrushing techniques and stuff. And then I think they do upholstery. I think I saw that they got a new upholstery table, like CNC machine, but does upholstery.
Yeah, where they can put those really dialed in different patterns and stuff.
Yeah, and they can put an embroidery machine, I guess, is what it would be basically, so they can stitch whatever the hell they want in it. Yeah, those guys do some cool stuff. Yeah, that motorcycle I built, I don't think I really have any business owning anything that nice that's supposed to stay that clean. It's a lot of work. It's all nerve-wracking, because I'm one of those guys that'll swing around a hammer and not, there goes that money. Oh. Yeah, no, and I've heard that bikes are really hard to keep clean. They're not that big. You'd think they'd be easier to clean.
Well, if you suck at riding them, you don't go out enough on them.
That's true. But you got to get the dust off of it. You get all that dust sitting on like one half of your hub. The bottom side's clean. The top side's just covered in dirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're fun, though. All that stuff. I just love sitting there tinkering with anything.
Yeah.
Mini bikes and just jet skis. It's just all fun, It gives you something to do.
Yeah, it's definitely it keeps you, in theory, should keep you out of trouble with the law and put you in trouble with the accountant.
Yeah.
In theory, it should keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
With the law.
My accountant's like, you write off more car parts than an automotive shop. Legally.
Well, the Sub 100 is an early construction vehicle, so it's I drive it to work, haul cabinets in it, drywall in it, and it's like a cool looking shop truck, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't have like an automotive shop where I need a shop truck, so like I don't get that cool shop truck. Everybody runs down to the hardware store or whatever. But
I was going to register my projects under the barbershop name, but my accountant, when he explained to me how we could do that legally, which we didn't do it because it wouldn't be legal, he said in front of my other 2 barbers at the time, he was like, yeah, but if you register the 51 Buick or the Harley under the barbershop's name, then they have to be company vehicles and the employees have to be able to have access to them at all times. And he said that in front of them, and they all perked up. And I was like, nope, we're good. I'll just eat that cost. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so I hope Aaron doesn't see this. Yeah. Come over and get the company truck one day.
If there's anybody that, I guess, out of all my employees I've ever had, he would probably be the one I would be like, yeah, it's cool, drive it. Because he drives like a fucking grandma. Like, he is the slowest, most, like, perfect driver. Like,
is he?
Yeah, like, I floored it to go around a car the other day, and lane was ending or something, and they were going slow, and I just like hammered it in the Duramax, and he's like, "Whoa, geez!" It was like, well, I had to just make a decision to get around this asshole. He was going too slow.
God.
So you said you own a barbershop, Hensley's Barbershop?
Yeah, over on 10th and South. Been open for 4 years now. I'm in my new location as of 2 years ago, which Mike Early for the Early Construction built the countertops. They're fantastic.
How are those holding up? Still working out okay?
Great. 32 foot of white subway tile countertop. Absolutely just an unbeatable appearance in there. You know, it just looks so cool.
That made me think of something. When we were doing that tile, it was when we hired that Wes.
Oh, yeah. He's a special sort of special, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh,
He
boy.
certainly was.
I terrified him, too.
Oh, yeah. He
Well, I think it was like the gentle caressing of his hand.
just randomly he was
Hi, Wes, I do hair.
he was so afraid of and maybe that comes with age, I guess. Like, you're like, no, don't call me gay. I'm not gay. Like,
Yeah.
over the top about it. Maybe he was hiding something. I don't know. But like, especially with my friends, when you do that, they're like, oh, this is gonna be funny.
Yeah.
So
Well, how gay can we get?
Yeah,
And
we
well,
can
what
definitely-
line can we push to make
we
you
can
feel more uncomfortable?
Definitely push it. So
I freaked that kid out that one day.
oh god, there's nothing better than did Eric's fireplace at his house, and for whatever reason, Wes came back from lunch and his shirt was tore all the way down, and like the sleeves are off. I was like, "What the hell happened?" He's like, "Yeah, me and my buddy were wrestling, and he tore my shirt, so I just ripped the sleeves off." And it was like tore all the way in here. His nips were hanging out, and I was like,
This bird cage of rage.
"Yeah." I was like, "Dude, hey, this guy that we're gonna go work for, he's a little weird. Just so you know, okay? You might want to put a different shirt on." He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, he's kind of weird." And so I went in and talked to Eric, and Eric's down for whatever. And I was like, "Hey, fuck with Wes a little bit, okay? Like, say something about his nips or whatever." He's like, "You want me to come out with no pants on?" I was like, "More than anything." So he's standing in the kitchen. There's like a little window area in his kitchen talking to us. You know, you can't see he doesn't have any pants on. And I'm like, "Yeah, Eric, why don't you come over and show us what you mean?" He walks around the corner. He's just in his little freaking boxer briefs. And starts doing leg lunges right in front of him. And he's like, "Hey, Wes, how you doing?" Or, hey man,
I like
how
your
you
shirt."
doing?" "Yeah, what's going on?" He walked outside and he's like, told Aaron, he's like, "Hey man, I don't feel comfortable here anymore. Like, this guy keeps hitting on me. Like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that?" And Eric just laid it on. His wife was there and everything, and he was like, later on, after we kind of let him know in on the gag, he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, it was really weird." I was like, "Well, what did you think Aaron was?" He's like, "I don't know, I don't know why. He was just hitting on me, and I didn't know why. I didn't think it was that you're his wife because he was hitting on me. I just thought, you lived here or something." He was all freaking out about it.
It's an open relationship. Everything.
Yeah.
He had so many emotions. He was so confused.
That brings up...
I can't believe he fired him. He was such a great employee.
Trump bought him a 10-week employment. That was right when PPP came through. And the day I was going to fire him or let him go. He was a nice kid. He was. He
needed more experience.
And he just, no life experience, no work experience, no nothing. He was young. So, but the day I was going to let him go, I got that PPP check and it said, none of your payroll can drop, so you can't lay anybody off, you can't fire anybody, you can't do any of that. I told him, I was like, "Man, you got lucky. Trump bought you another 8 weeks or whatever." But yeah, he was young kids. I don't know. What do you think about the young kids in the car industry? He was so impatient. He got a really nice like 97 truck, that maroon one. Instantly put a lift kit on it. Instantly put
the Ford.
No,
that was that white Ford. That was the white one, right?
Well,
the
no,
real
he got a maroon,
raggedy one.
Yeah, that thing was a pile. But he got that maroon GMC, like 97 GMC extended cab, and his uncle had it or something, and it was beautiful, perfect truck. You don't see those trucks without rust on them or dented up or beat to shit. And instantly got the freaking Dude Bro rims on it sticking out the side, put a lift kit on it, started trying to wire up like fog lights or those
KC lights and everything.
And then he wanted to put a visor on it, so we got a fiberglass visor or whatever off the front.
I think I remember that.
And I was like, dude, he's like, yeah, me and my buddy, we're just gonna rattle can it. I was like, don't do that. Just listen. Yeah, I will help you out. I will paint it for you for free. I'm gonna be painting some parts for the Prelude, so I'll give you the clear coat in the primer. You just go down to Snow or Auto Body Supply or whatever and get the paint. Get a pint of paint and I'll mix it up for you. Okay, or paint it. He's like, okay, cool. He showed up I think he took off early on Thursday or something to go get it, and then he was gone on Friday. He had something going on, and then showed up on Monday with it rattle canned on his truck. And I was like, dude, why the fuck did you do that? You already bought the paint. You couldn't wait like 4 more days.
Well, it's gonna look sweet, that.
Yeah.
We all kind of do that, and you get excited. And at least he was a young kid that gave a shit about cars.
Yeah, no, he definitely did.
That's what you don't see any more of them. Wanting to hire everything done and pay everybody to do everything, and they don't understand why they got $70,000 into a $10,000 truck. I just saw a guy on the way over here in a beautiful blue high country Silverado. I think it was 2021, something like that. It was a really new truck, and it was 2,500 Duramax, big black shiny cattle guard on the front, and the black accents on the grill, and it was a South Dakota truck, and he had no lift kit on it. I mean, the tires must have stuck out this far off the side. Deep dish, high polish rims.
Were we talking like a 15-inch wide rim?
Oh no, it was like a 20.
20 inch?
But it was like 15, 16 inches deep of just shine. I mean, it was just shine. And like talk about that impetuous views. I'm behind him in, my Avalanche, with plastic on the side.
Sweet truck.
LBGTQ. And so I'm driving behind him, and I'm like, what's this turbo whine? I'm dying for a diesel. I'm dying to own a diesel. And he's got this mall crawler.
Yeah.
And he's got, I don't know, they look like giant golf cart tires sticking out of him. I mean, there wasn't a lot of tread on him. And he hits one bump on 11th Street over like 11th and G, and the toolbox just pops up. Like, you spent $75,000 on this truck, you couldn't have bought more than a $50 toolbox?
Probably spent more than $75,000 on it, especially by the time he puts the lift kit on it, puts the $10,000 worth of rims and tires.
Oh, yeah. He gets out with flannel shirt on, sleeves cut off. He's a young guy. He's a good-looking kid, he's fit. Just steps right on. The only thing I liked about it was when he wanted to get in the back of that truck, he just stepped right on that tire and walked right up into it. I was like, okay.
I mean, I guess he could use it as scaffold too. He could throw a 2x12 from tire to tire if you needed to work.
It had that option, but I was like, well, I don't want to look like that driving down the road. And I'm just like, man, all rims, no it was. Yeah,
that's the other thing too.
It's your truck. Do what you want to do, but
they have no tread, the sidewall is so. It's low pro rubber band tires with a knobby tire profile. I don't get it.
Yeah,
Well, that thing's never gonna go freaking mudding or.
I mean, I don't want to be a jerk or anything, but it did have South Dakota plates, so there was probably a little strangeness going on there.
A very nice person, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's a wonderful, wonderful
sure.
person. I think his parents were just great cousins to,
I see what you did there. Yeah, they were
Aunt Mom and
yeah, it's kind of a mouthful,
Aunt Mom and Uncle Dad.
When you stub your toe as a kid, you can't just say mom or cry to mom. You got to cry to Aunt Mom.
Yeah, it's complicated lifestyle.
Do you think that these kids and these, because what I noticed with Wes is they're ADHD or whatever, they have no focus to stay focused, and do you think they're into cars, we're into cars, or are they just into cars because that's what they think they should be into?
Sometimes I think the rabbit hole has too many tunnels too. They want to do too much with one vehicle,
or they're young and they don't have a lot of money, and so they want to, but cool seat covers. Oh yeah, cool.
The seat
Steering wheel
covers, yeah, underglow.
Oh, underglow.
Underglow.
Oh, I'm gonna get some rims, but the offset's not right, so they stick out. Or I get that aspect of it, I guess. But
I mean, if you're building a work truck for a budget, who cares what it looks like? You know what I'm saying? If you need a rim, you chunk the rim, and you need a rim, and there's a 4 of them that might be a little offset with some rubber on them, throw them on and get to work. I understand that, but yeah, it's funny you mention that. I've had numerous clients. These kids are 16 years old, and like I said, I knew what top 3 colors of Lambo I wanted by the time I was 12.
What were they?
Oh, I think it was.
You knew it that well.
I think it was yellow. I think it was definitely the yellow one. I wanted that Ferrari Testarossa from Miami Vice, and then I thought that car in that one, the Rafe movie or whatever, was it was a Chrysler. I thought that was a Lambo, so it had to be black. But a lot of these kids, I listen to them, and a lot of them, they don't care. I mean, I have a friend who his company does very, very well, and his kid was like, "Can I just have Mom's old Accord?" And his dad's like, he's got that C10 with the Central City on the doors that he bought from Jeffy. And he's a car guy, and he likes his cars, and he just ordered a really good looking Porsche, and he's like, "Would you want to put some rims on it or something?" He's like, "Nah."
Nah, I just want to cruise, smoke my weed, and get.
I don't think he smokes pot. I don't, and if he does, I don't throw him under the bus.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of this like they don't see it as freedom. I mean, why would they need it? We wanted to go to record stores and parts stores and swap meets or whatever comic book stores or go hang out with our friends. Well, they could FaceTime them. Amazon's going to drop it here the next day. Like they don't have a lack of freedom that we did. I mean, you remember what it would take to get your dad to drive you to the record store if you wanted an album or or something. He's like, "Oh God, I just worked all day." I
don't think my dad ever did drive me anywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
think my mom carted us around a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, once we had the freedoms, we had wheels. It was time to go.
Yeah. I mean, that was everything. I mean, I live in a small town, so I mean, you got your bicycle, you put your 22 on your strap on your back, and you put your fishing pole over it, and your tackle box on the other side. And I don't know how I don't have a chunk of lead somewhere in my ass because we weren't safe. We were.
Yeah, that's true. I don't see kids riding on pegs or handlebars anymore.
Yeah, you don't see them doubling up and.
Yeah.
God, I remember I used to ride a Huffy with white mags and a blue frame. I think it was 7 or 8 miles out to Court Cortson's house with a 22 on my back. And we would be riding on the side of the highway, little bitty shoulder. And then we thought, because we watched NASCAR, it was a good idea to try to draft the semis. So we'd see a semi coming. We don't look behind us, see the other cars. Woo, try to catch the wind. Boom. Never worked. We lived somehow. And then we'd go out and mess around. Nobody said you were
a smart man.
Yeah, no. And then we would go out and fish and shoot shit. Mm-hmm. Mostly somebody else's property would get shot. Farmhouses and signs and all day. And then it was like, oh man, streetlights are gonna come on. I better get home. And it's 7 miles on my way home.
Yeah, streetlights. That was the thing. That was like the international symbol for get your ass home. Like you better be home before the streetlights come on. I always remember too, I would try to pull this move where I was like, well, the streetlights weren't on at Travis's house. And you're like, yeah, he's 15 blocks away. It's just as dark there as it is here. We're not falling for that shit.
My mom was an old farm woman, or it was a farm woman from western Nebraska, and she's not an old woman by any means. Was not. And I'm burying myself on that one, and we need to edit that out about my mom. She's not old. I'm scared of her. And so...
Well, you've more than made up for it right there.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my mom's a school teacher, and she had her summers off too. And the rule was you have to be out of the house by 9, maybe even 8:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Don't be back before 4, You can stop in for a sandwich, like there was like, and that was, I thought that, at times I was like, well, great, I gotta go find the bully and get my ass kicked again, because I'm sure I'm gonna run into him at all the hot spots the kids hang out in this tiny little town. But, and I look at that, and I don't even know if parents would even think about doing it. My mom was like, I don't know where you're going, but get out. Get out. Yeah. This is my house during the summer. I want this place empty and quiet from 9 to 4. You can come in at 5, and then you'd come in at 9 o'clock on the summers and the sun still be up. Okay, we're good. You're home.
Yeah, damn near the streetlights wouldn't come on until 9:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that freedom.
Yeah, and the kids today, well, they don't want to go farther than their Wi-Fi signal.
Oh, speaking of Wi-Fi signal, this has nothing to do with Wi-Fi, but do you remember the cordless landline phones?
Oh,
try to get some privacy or whatever, and talking to your first girlfriend or whatever on the phone. You're like, I don't want my brother listening. You walk outside and you go, like, shit, went too far.
Nobody's antenna ever lasted more than a couple of months because somebody would clip
Snap
that thing.
Off,
oh, God.
Put it down sideways and bend
oh,
it.
man. And the cordless phones were or remotes for TVs. I remember when I was the remote.
Yeah.
My dad would be like, and my dad liked to channel surf in commercials. So it was like, commercial come up. I just stand by the TV. Go to channel 8, Go to channel 8.
Well, I mean, the good news is
go back to 5.
There's only like, 15 channels or whatever.
Cable television was not brought. It was brought in by the Bittinger family in my hometown, and it was not available. There was no cable TV. Cables ran through my hometown until I was in 7th grade.
Yeah,
I think 6th grade is when we heard. 5th grade is when we heard about it. It still didn't get Fox. We couldn't get I never got to watch The Simpsons until I moved to Lincoln, and didn't get Fox.
Damn, really?
Yeah, and it was crazy. I remember I remember that 1 week a year where HBO would do the free thing, and you would get free HBO for a week. I had a lot of awakenings in that. Like that week was big at night. Yeah. It's like, there's gonna be boobs.
Channel 77 and the scrambled porn.
Yeah, I remember. And Universal remotes.
I think I saw a boob. I
saw a boob. Yes, I don't know if it was male or female, but there was nipple.
It was nipple. Yeah, that would be like. The sleep.
Yeah, remember those old satellites?
Parties.
Those things were monstrosities.
Oh, the house satellites.
Yeah, and they would move.
Ooh, I didn't know they moved.
They moved. Yeah, it was cool. I remember that, and they called them a clicker because they're like tukunk, 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 and you had to be like a Marine sniper to hit that. So, I didn't get it. It was faster just to get up and change the channel.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we grew up on a farm for some point, and it was rabbit ears, and my parents weren't poverty stricken by any means. It was just the times, It was
technology is advanced so fast since I was a kid. I can only imagine somebody that grew up in the Great Depression or the turn of the century. They were 100 years old, and just to see how much things have changed, like no cars. Everything was done with animals and a buggy, and then now there's jets. They went to the moon. You can talk to somebody in China.
In-house washer dryer.
Yeah, running water, electricity, all the stuff.
Oh man, yeah, we got it good. We don't want for nothing these days, but we want everything.
Oh yeah, no, we're all entitled little pricks. I try to not be, but I think I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Like when we don't have good enough Wi-Fi in the bedroom, we're trying to watch a show and it keeps fucking buffering, and I'm like, motherfucker!
Oh yeah.
What the fuck do I pay for this shit for?
I'm not a hardcore gamer or anything, but my neighbor was, and we were best friends in this duplex, and he talked me into getting an Xbox One, and I had an Xbox 360 when I first moved back to town because I didn't know anybody, and I was like, I have something to do. I don't want to watch TV. I didn't have cable at this apartment, so I bought this one off on Marketplace or Craigslist or something. I bought it. So $100. And it was fun playing it and stuff. And I remember him going, he's like, nah, you should get the Xbox One with the 4K, blah, 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 because it doesn't take so long to load. I'm like, bro, it takes 44 seconds, and I'm playing this war game shooter with people all over the world. I got a headset. I mean, this is like amazing. You're bitching about the load time. Do you have to pee ever when this happens? Like, bro, do you remember this?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta
and you're like, yes.
If you spin it just a little bit, but not too much, just a little bit, it'll work.
Yeah,
fine.
it's like, man, and the way people complain, oh, my internet's not fast enough. Like,
Well, everybody wants to be a one of those Twitch streamers or video game guys now, and so then I don't know. It's all everything's going well. Shit, we're sitting here doing a video podcast, and it's going to go up on the internet, so we're doing the same
oh
thing.
yeah, I
different.
just had a gig of internet put into my garage.
Hell yeah!
Just to hang out, and I put a TV in there, and out of my living room was like, I'm just going to be in my garage. You know what? Never turned on the TV. Didn't want to sit on my couch anymore, so I put it back. Now I got a gig of internet. I mean, it's nice for when I have my laptop out there and look up stuff because my
worst and best thing I ever did was put a TV out here.
Yeah, I've got another little TV I think I'm going to put in there. I thought I'd, try to mac on chicks by making a little my own drive-in movie theater situation. Put it up above the car,
I don't hate the idea.
Turn the car on, let them get sleepy from the...
99.
Like that? That's vintage exhaust.
Yeah, that's a good shit. No catalytic converter.
Straight from the source.
Yeah, this shit's going to hit hard. I hope you're used to this good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little, I like to have my laptop out there and look stuff up, but yeah, I think, God, I had to have a gig, they pumped me out a gig. I mean, luckily they gave me a work from home special because it's a residential address and my barbershop internet reaches my house, and so I don't want for anything, but yeah, I got my house and my TV in my house. It'll take a second for Netflix, so it'll and I sit there and I go, I'm not going to bitch. There's like a million movies behind that little spinning thing.
I know, and there's no CDs anymore or VHS or any of that stuff. It's just literally all at our fingertips.
Yeah, and we have that one source too. So I still keep my DVD collection in a box basement.
Do you think that's part of the reason why there's so many more Karens now? Because when they don't get instant gratification, it doesn't work. They just automatically lose their shit.
Don't know. It's just a dependency. It's almost like a digital chemical dependency. I think.
Definitely is. You definitely get dopamine hits.
I keep I have a small collection of DVDs and probably fill a milk crate, and I just keep them because if there's like a power outage,
you ain't gonna be able to watch it anyway if there's a power outage.
I have a generator.
Oh, okay.
I'll throw the generator up. Well, I had, but Jeffy stopped storing it in my garage, so I got to get one. But yeah, I mean, just to have that, it's like even just to be able to throw it on, and do it. But what dependency level is that? Like, I can't get rid of these shitty DVDs I've seen a million times because just in case my internet goes out, I need to be entertained. Like,
yeah, we keep our DVDs, I guess, some of them for the camper. Because a lot of times we got a DVD player in there, and the new camper now has a bunkhouse, so we put a TV up back there, or we put our camper TV that was in the living room before in the bunkhouse. So now when the kids, it's bedtime or whatever, it's like, get your fucking bunk room, turn a movie on, and go to sleep. Stay the hell out of the living room or whatever, and then it puts a whole camper's width between their bedroom and my bedroom, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Still doesn't going to make a difference, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You don't want to have them hear that 1 minute of passion.
It's passionate. It's very passionate.
Mike says, "Hey," and she goes, "No," and the minute's over.
Yeah, no, it's the 59 seconds of me begging. Please, come on.
Just take the mask, the facial mask off, and the sweatpants. I'll be good.
I'd leave the mask on. It's fine.
Keep exfoliating. Yeah. I don't care. You want the remote?
Hey, I'm not too proud.
You've been there. I won't jostle you enough to lose vision at the TV.
I'm not going to hit you with the jacket.
You can still read the subtitles.
All right. Well, on that note, let's move on.
Probably edit that out.
I thought I would do a lot more editing of things out, and I haven't really cut a lot of any of these out because it all, some stuff, but yeah, it hasn't been a lot of cutting and a lot of editing. So it's been a lot of editing just because I can't make this work the way I want it to, and switching cameras is a pain in the ass, and it takes me out of the conversation. if I have to constantly switch cameras, so I quit doing that. Just so I can be more one-on-one. Or
Yeah, I can imagine this could get pretty overly complicated. Another rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely another rabbit hole, because then it's like the first one we did, my microphone battery died. I was doing mic tests, 40 minutes beforehand, making sure everything was good, trying to get the audio dialed in for me. Second we hit record, and don't have any microphone, and I'm still getting audio pickups because my voice is being picked up on that microphone or whatever, so I can still see it registering when I talk, but it's quieter, so I start dialing it up and nothing's changing. It's not changing anything. And so the first podcast was rough, but I mean, you're gonna have
first podcast,
you're gonna have the growing pains where you actually, until you sit down and do one.
But you didn't have that problem and just tuck tail and run like our youth would. They're like, oh my God, it didn't work, I'm done. This podcast thing is too hard. I feel like they don't have that. I don't think they have the they don't have that perseverance. They never fell off the horse, and had to get back on it, Yeah,
that's kind of weird, but I don't know. I'm a weirdo crackhead when it comes to, like, once I have a project in mind, I'm all in, balls to the wall. I can't think of anything else except for maybe camper time every once in a while. But if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But then the lack of camper time ends up being motivation to go out to the garage. It's like, well,
I guess I'm not camping tonight, I guess. If we're not camping, I'm going to the garage. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Once I get started on a project, I can't quit. No matter how. I have a lot of projects that are in limbo and partial stages of completion, but they're always there, and I drag them out, or whatever, and it's like right back to it, and then it turns into like the Prelude I was like, I got $2,500 probably, and this thing's ready to go. $8,000 later.
Yeah.
Still not done yet, but.
Oh yeah, I have to find 2 steel rims.
Yeah, you didn't locate any of those?
No, and I'm trying to cut costs to buy a house, and but there's the rabbit hole. It's like, well, do I want to spend $250 on 2 steel rims for this car? Or do I just want to keep setting aside a little bit of money and drop some 17s with white walls on there? And it's like, oh, well, $6,000 later.
Yeah, no, whatever. It never stops. And no matter how much you're like, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Nope, this time
there's no way I can justify this. And then I go, well, I've never married, no kids. It's not like I'm feeding or sheltering dependents,
Yeah, I don't know. Does that make it better or worse? It probably makes it a lot better. You probably have a little more disposable income, I suppose, than at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, for braces or
never married, I guess I should say. Now, but yeah, it definitely does. I mean, you guys, all of our circle seems to have women that really enjoy this. The wives are always there on the cruises. So I'm sure there's probably some conversations at home once in a while when they go, what was $1,400? Don't worry about it, honey, but at the same time, they're always out there with you guys on the cruises. I was just thinking this on the way over. You guys have great, fantastic, beautiful wives, great personalities, fun, really a great circle. I'm glad I'm a part of it and stuff.
Brandy, thanks you.
I was sucking up a little bit there. It wouldn't hurt if they all kind of teamed up and made one casserole a week, just kind of rotated the shifts. I've been pushing for this for 5 years. I still haven't got a casserole.
You need to just make up a fake injury and be like, oh, yeah, Hensley got in the hospital or whatever. He's just getting out of the hospital, and they'll all build you a casserole for at least 1 week,
But, they're always with you guys. They go on all the cruises and stuff like that. But I always tend to... Shit, every girlfriend I got goes, you didn't even name in the garage. I'm like, well, fine, I'll go to the strip club. Is that where you want me?
I mean, at least when you get done in the garage versus a strip club, you have something hopefully to show for it.
Yeah, you know.
Strip club, you just have no more ones in your checking account.
Yeah, and covered in glitter.
And stripper stink, whatever that smell is they put on. Oh.
It's weird. It's this oddly cheap cologne that if I smell it out in public on somebody, I'm like, are you wearing? But then suddenly I smell it in a dark room, and it's like, take my money. Like, what is this love potion you are wearing? It smells like daddy issues and potential, like I'm going to get laid.
No, it's definitely, it smells like working their way through college.
Oh yeah, nursing school's tough. Yeah, you know, I know a lot of them are in nursing school apparently. Very big nurturers.
Yeah, they're nurturers. They, you know.
You know, they're
They want
nursing.
to take care of the weak and the sick and the sickly and the disgusting.
Yeah, all while grinding on creeps. And me, the gentlemen that partake from time to time.
Just high class gentlemen, you know, But boy, I forgot where we went. We got talking about strippers, and I totally lost my train of thought.
That's how they get you. It's that damn perfume.
It is. Damn, I got that perfume on my mind now. God, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on ratchets. Whether they're in the garage or in the club.
Either way, it's just ratchet. That's what it was, yeah. So when if you spend time in the garage or the strip club, at least in the garage, hopefully you have something that you can show for it.
Yeah, you know, it's a great hobby. You know, it's a great way to. I love to go in there and be by myself for hours and upon hours. You know, there's always that thing. I was like, man, you know, what a great garage I got. I have some friends over and drink beer, and I'm like, they'll just annoy me while I'm trying to do this.
Do you think that? So I know this with almost every single car guy that I'm friends with. We're all really good friends and we hang out, we have a great time. But do you think that we're all loners to a certain extent, where we just like to be alone by ourselves in a garage? Because we all work every single night or most nights in the garage, and usually there's not somebody else there. But like, you know, maybe one or two nights a week you might have somebody stop by, but
I'm new to being a car guy on the level that I am. Like, I definitely leveled up in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And we just had this conversation at the barbershop, you know. I take these guys out from the barbershop and I'll show my car and my Harley and stuff because it's right by there. And I've noticed that, you know, the guys that don't have a project that also have like Fuel TV, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, I totally want to do this and this, and they never really pull the trigger. They're kind of, you know, there's no disrespect to them. They got things going on in their life that, you know, they don't want to spend the money.
Big commitment.
They don't want to take on the task. It's definitely this thing. I notice when I bring those guys out there, and I do like to bring them out there just to pad my ego a little bit. I'm just gonna say it because they're always like, oh, this is so cool, and I'm like, well, at least somebody thinks so because I'm the only one that's ever in here. Yeah, but then they always reach into my fridge and be like, you got a beer? And they open that fridge, and I'm like, no, dude, there's LaCroix and Red Bulls in there because I suck at working on stuff. When I have like 4 beers, I'm out. I'm lazy as shit. I'm done. I'm gonna be on the couch. So I just avoid having beers in there. That's why I keep it at work because, you know, I have a couple of beers. I used to have beers at work, so I could just keep it after, you know, have a couple of beers after work, and that way I can give it to the customers too. But anyways,
yeah, thank you for that beer you gave me on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Tuesday back in November.
Yeah, no, it was recorded in November.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I think. Yeah. But anyways,
Nobody knows when it was recorded.
What I noticed is like, and I honestly thought I got that really sweet shop. It's all heated, air conditioned. I thought I'd be hanging out with my friends more, and I am. I'm hanging out in my garage with my friends separately, you know, because I know that you're over here doing this, and I know that Hartshorn's over in his garage, and Sims and Turner and you know, Turner and Turner and Turner, you know, there's like 4 yeah, the head Turners are a cool crew.
I like working by myself more than with people. I tend to stay more focused. I think there's always things that you need somebody else, you need a hand with. If you're like, you know, pull the hood off or whatever, you know, but you don't get as much done that you wanted to get done. And I think that
it's a distraction. It is, you know, it's not a social hour. You know, I have that Red Bull and LaCroix in my fridge because
I love hanging out with my friends.
It's a lot of hours, but it's I always think it's super special when, you know, like that first cruise of the year where everybody gets together and they go, oh, look what you've been doing, you know, you know, Myrtle's metal flaked on the top, Myrtle's metal flaked on the top now, and you know the 40, you know, Brandon's 46 is blue instead of ZZ Top. You know,
cool.
like
when they showed up for Torque Fest, and all of a sudden it was like, who the fuck is that? What what?
Yeah, that was
What the hell's
that was a
Brandon
cool
driving?
surprise.
That's a completely different car. It didn't even look like the same car. It
No.
looked completely different.
No, he did a great
job
job on that. That's super cool. Yeah, it's always kind of cool when everybody meets up and it's like, oh wow, you did this and you did that, and you know, it's a lot of fun, you know. But it's a healthy thing to be in there and figuring out problems for yourself. I think it's good for your mental dexterity, you know. I mean, they say doing puzzles and stuff keeps off Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff.
Puzzles are, you know, these are real life puzzles.
Oh boy.
You know, they're.
Oh boy. Yeah, and the parts and the pieces aren't always just there on the table to snap into place.
What's a 4-letter word for I just broke a bolt off in the head? You know.
Oh shit! I got to get that one out of the transmission.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
you know,
snapped one off
pain,
just now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it is all that stuff, you know. It's like I can't make horns work on any car, and it's just like, all right, step away, go do a little more research, come back. You're like, I've got it figured out. No, I didn't do shit. That was a waste of an hour and a half.
My turn signals on the Starfire on the bumper below are all beat up and they're missing. The lenses and the housings are all beat up. It looks like somebody who owned it previously, I don't think they tried to tow it with a tow strap at one point. Because when I got out of the car, it was pretty rough. I think it died on him a few times. It looks like somebody hooked up a tow strap of it. So it's like, okay, now I've got to either figure out before, and I'm probably going to get borderline crucified for this in our crew, but I think it would look cool with the quad headlights to put the headlights in it, the halo that you can switch the colors on and make it lavender to match the car.
Right,
and make,
sir.
and to make it this, but is it going to be hard? Like, it's like, well, I should do that because it's either I can figure out a couple of relays and ohm resistors probably a lot faster than I can figure out metal working a bumper and then finding these needles in this haystack of the internet.
And that's the hard part too with the car, because I'm not a purist by any means with cars. Like, I build what I want to build, but my taste is basically could have or should have come from the factory that way. So you make subtle tweaks here and there, you know. If you're shaving things, you're not shaving the door handles, you're not, you know, but maybe you shave the antenna hole, or, you know, shave a body line that's in there. And
oh yeah, I've heard some shit because I went from a mechanical fuel pump to an electric fuel pump, and I put the relay in, I wired it all nice, I make it look really professional. I put it in this. It was like you said, should it have come from the factory that way? I was like, well, why did you have this opening space on the frame within the fuel lines right behind the thing? If it wasn't, I mean, it was. There was even already a hole there, so I only had to tap one hole into that frame. My bolt went into the other one, so it was like
tapped a hole. You're really,
I know,
really
right? Like it's not original
up.
now, man. That's not going to make it to Meekum. No more Barrett Jackson for you.
There's that fine line where you're saying put halos on it and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but like,
I know,
like,
and then it's like, how am I gonna? And then, you know, like Spike was just telling me today on the phone, he's like, yeah, but if you put the LED headlights in there with the halos, and you can blow your headlight switch, and then I've got one of those beautiful headlight switches I've ever seen, and I'm like, I gotta fix this thing. No, so I gotta, like, what are you gonna do? Like, put some switches underneath and be like, tink tink. Tink, 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 tink.
Yeah.
I'm taking it right now. Tink, 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 tink.
No.
So you can't do anything like that. You can't make it ghetto. You can't make it hood wrap. But a mechanical fuel pump, why would I not want an electrical fuel pump in this day and age? You know, like,
I agree with that. And this just brought up something. I'm jealous of the people like Wes,
that don't care.
where they have no shame. Like,
They don't make their own rules on their own cars that they have to follow.
do they not have a dad that goes, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? Like, I'm embarrassed for myself thinking of what other people are going to say about something, you know.
I was doing the relay on my fuel pump, and I didn't have blue wire or white wire, and the relay wire is blue and white, and this stuff all goes and disappears after 10 inches and goes under the dash. And it was like 9 degrees out, that I had been, I don't know what, for whatever reason, I think Riley or somebody had blocked my truck in, and I was like, well, I've got spools of wire of every other color, but I walked my ass 2 blocks to that parts store.
Oh yeah.
Just to get blue and white, so it was coming off the relay from the same color all the way to its source.
Right, sir.
$18 in wire for it to. It's like, why am I doing heat shrink tubing to match? color code because I had it. I was like, well, I better use the color coded e-tree.
Damn,
That's like,
that
and it's the stupidest thing, but at the same time, if I can't get these turn signals to move, I'll drive this thing for 5 years doing this. Taking a left, taking a right. There we go.
Yeah.
It's
electrical is fun.
Electrical's not the worst, but it is. You make these rules that you follow.
Yeah,
and they're not
absolutely.
for anybody else. And then you always get your friends who go, "You can't put 17s on that. You can't. Yeah. You got to put 14-inch Daytons."
Wow, you did a really good job soldering that joint. I think that's what I heard the other day, or whatever, that wire. Yeah, I was like, yeah, don't look at that. My soldering iron didn't really get hot enough to do that. I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah, my driver's side lug nut studs on my wheel studs are reverse thread. I borrowed an air hammer from somebody.
You tighten those fuckers up good.
You know what? There's not everything we need to talk about. You
brought it up. That's
I know.
all
I'm just saying it was a flaw from the factory that created an issue.
The wheels walking loose, or the lug nuts walking loose.
Oh, I didn't tell you about this, did I? When I bought an extra brand new impact because mine wouldn't get the lug nut off because I had it on left and it was lefty tighty, not righty loosey. So I had it on left, and then I went to Home Depot. I got a new impact, which I've been wanting to buy anyways, So all this money went home, put the bam, all of a sudden I realized there's more thread sticking out of this goddamn lug nut. When I fused the rim to the lug nut to the rim, I had to grind it off. I jumped the grinder off of one stud onto the other one, all to realize that these are righty loosey. Grabbed my little insufficient impact. It went son of a bitch. This was all to get the gas tank off. I didn't fix that wheel stud until the gas tank was back in. I never needed to take that tire off. I did this damage, so I'm like, screw that. I'm going to grab this air hammer. I borrowed an air hammer. I'm going to knock out all them studs and I'm repressing in correct thread ones because the factory screwed that up. That wasn't my fault. That was Oldsmobile's fault.
Are your wheels going to fall off now driving down the road?
Well, yeah, probably, but that was
That's a problem for later.
That's why I don't drive the Cherokee either. It's just one of those things, like you said. Should this have been from the factory? Should it be done this way?
Yeah.
And then I was just worried because if I am on the road with it, 100 miles, 200 miles out from Lincoln, and I got to have a tire changed or something. I don't need the brain trust at some Jiffy Lube zipping that thing off and putting it on the right side and causing the whole problem.
Wes.
Yeah, I don't need Wes, cranking on it. Well, he's not strong enough to fuse anything, but
that impact, he can pull the trigger on him. Sure.
Yeah. So it was just like one of those. The mistakes are almost the fun part. Too, sometimes like you're the three-wheeler learn a little history and stuff.
Well, yeah, because I think you're learning life lessons, you're learning experience. Like we just said, you don't have any pain in your life, you don't make any mistakes, you don't grow as a person.
True.
You don't have any more knowledge in your tiny little brain than you had the day before if you're just sitting around playing video games all day or eating potato chips on your couch or watching Law and Order or whatever the hell people do on their couch. I don't know, Netflix and chill maybe.
Yeah, it's football. I'm always amazed how people can watch 6 hours of football on the weekends. And I'm like, how do you have that kind of time? Even if I didn't have cars, I wouldn't have that goddamn time to put 6 hours in on the couch.
The only thing I really find football good for is hanging out with my buddies or taking a nap.
Yeah, there's always good food at the football party, so I never...
That is true, yeah. Yeah, you always got some snacks.
Yeah, solid snacks, free beer, But if I go to a football party and I go out to the garage to grab myself a beer and there's a car in there, I'm going to sit there on a stool next to the fridge and just look at somebody else's car and drink beer.
Drink all their beer. I like where your head's at.
Yeah. Well, I'm a guest, it's only fair, what I'm saying?
And the beer fridge is always, it's open to anybody. Come in, help yourself. If there's beer in there, you're more than welcome to drink it. I'm not going to get mad if I drink your last beer. I always get weirded out or don't like being around those people that are like, bring your own beer. Don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
It's a community, it's a community drinking fountain in there.
Yeah, I'm actually going to grab one. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Well, while you're over there, get two. And I guess we'll take this time right now to thank our other sponsor for this show, Hensley's Barbershop. If you need to get some braids and fades done, hit up Hensley. I know you don't know, but you sponsored, I think, the third podcast that's not out yet.
Absolutely, no. I was happy to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a noble thing. It's an honor.
Me and Sims were talking about getting her haircut or whatever, and Cash goes in there all the time to get his haircut.
He's a cool kid.
And I was like, yeah, this episode's sponsored by Hensley's Barbershop. He doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna pay me.
I see your boy's been coming in. He likes it.
Yeah, he said. I think he kind of got his haircut slightly different this time, but last time he was like, "This is the best haircut I've ever got," and it wasn't a morbidly obese woman breathing heavy on him. So.
Yeah, it's tough to transition from those
cost cutters.
Sweaty boobs on your shoulder as a young man to a man's barber. You know, a male barber, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun industry. The kids are fun. He's at an age where I enjoy them coming in. I don't have a problem cutting kids' hair. I don't cut kids' hair. I don't cut kids' hair because the parents have the time. Man, if they're under 13, these parents can be wing nuts. I have some that have been grandfathered in, or grandchild in, I said, but they're, the kids are fun. It's cool to see those young guys go, oh yeah, I want to look good, and I feel good, and I like having my hair cut.
Yeah.
And I think that's important that they have that attitude where they say, okay, I want to look good because it makes me feel good, not because I'm doing it for somebody else,
Well,
but
there is a little bit of community involved with, like, back in the day, it wasn't a cost cutters in and out, boom, boom, boom. It was, you'd sit down and you would do the town, not town gossip per se, but you'd hear the stories, you'd talk to your, become one of your friends, your buddies, and it'd be a time to go communicate with somebody else. I don't know, it just was, it was community.
Well, I had you build that bar in my shop because I kind of was like a tricking dudes, like you couldn't just be like, hey, we're gonna do friend building activities, but you do a bar in some place and some guy's gonna pony up to it. It's amazing the way society's gone where that's lost, that community shuffle. I mean, yeah, we get people from all over town, so they're not just walking around the neighborhood and that neighborhood, not a lot, well, everybody in there, but they it's kind of a lost. It's kind of lost as far as the hangout, you know, unless you like do the pool table, and even then you just got kids ripping your felt. But I thought there was going to be more. I thought when I built this shop, I thought there was going to be more of that where guys came in, and we still do have it, and we love it. There's some guys that come in and will just come in and bullshit.
I feel like the black community still has it. A lot
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like the white.
Yeah, they do it, and it's fun. We still have customers. Everybody, there's always there's black and white that come in and dick off on their days off. They'll come in, bring a 6-pack of beer and crack open a beer and bullshit, and it's a riot. I do like it when it happens.
You definitely get to see all walks of life.
Yeah, it's not the same. Well, and I sell a little higher end haircut than my neighborhood's really looking for, so. If I did $10, $12, $15 haircuts at my spot, then we get the neighborhood walkaboys that want to come in and hang out. But
I'd probably go in more often than once every 6 months if they were, like a $10 Tuesday or something.
No, that will not be offered by any means ever.
Promotion code. Use promotion code cuts.
No promotion codes. No.
People are gonna start walking in. I'm gonna use.
I'm here for the
cuts.
$10 FTP Speed Shop discount.
What's the promotion code?
Yeah, no. I wish it was. That's why I like doing haircut night. Sometimes I used to have all the crew in to cut hair.
But those are fun.
Yeah, but then I realized I didn't want to work that late anymore. I was too tired.
Yeah, because it would get to be like 10 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah, and I'm still like, I'm like, wait a second, I'm the one that owns the bar and the booze. Why am I not drinking any of this shit?
Yeah, all right, you're up. Oh, God, I hate my life. Or you just get, too fucked up by the end of the night and everybody's fades are sideways.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would never.
No, I'm not saying that you do that.
But it could happen. It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
Maybe a tuft of hair sticking out still.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun industry. It's a good industry. I enjoy it. Like I said, the kids are what make it a lot of fun too. When you start to see them growing, and there are a few that are excited about their cars, and and come in and they we always like to bust their chops about boyfriends and girlfriends or girlfriends. Like, oh, what's your girlfriend's name? How many girlfriends you got? None. And then there's always.
Who's a cute girl in your class?
I had one time. I had a young boy sitting there. His mom was with him. I think it was Shannon Hughes. I think it was Colton.
You don't have to say their name. It's fine.
Well, Josh is a good friend of mine, and she was sitting there, and I was like, so. He had a mullet. He had a rockin' mullet. He had the thing lines, and he was always like, "Oh, we do a sweet mullet and some, can I get a mohawk on the top? Just everything he could possibly get." And then one day he's like, "I think I just want a normal haircut." I was like, "Yeah, what's her name?"
Oh.
And she goes, Hensley, he's not even into that. And he was like, her name's Samantha, and she's my really good friend, and she thinks I'd probably look better with a better haircut. I was like, you like her, don't you? Oh, I think I looked over at Shannon, and she was just the waterworks were coming. I was like, no, I got this, And she's like, oh my God, he likes a girl, and it's cool, Like they open up, they like their barbers,
Yeah, that's true. It's true. You're okay. So Jackson, you said mullet, reminded me of Jackson. Grandpa told him that they had this old 90s Chevy pickup truck out back or whatever. He was going to get it running and try to sell it. And Jackson's like, oh, I kind of like that. It's kind of a cool little truck. I forgot to shut that off.
Scared the shit out of me.
I usually shut that off. Fucking A, that really interrupted. Well, this break was sponsored by the air compressor.
Yeah, Puma. Air compressors. Yeah. Quiet like a cat.
They'll kick on and scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, fuck, I puckered pretty good.
Yeah, but Grandpa said, you grow a mullet out and I'll give you this truck. And so he's like, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And when he got his haircut last Tuesday, he was like, dang, I was supposed to be growing my mullet out so I could get that truck.
Well, next one we'll do the starter kit. We'll plant that seed in the rat tail.
Yeah.
We'll get that going. Maybe just a little bottom row.
Apparently, Grandpa came in and got a cut from Riley. Riley tuned up his mullet.
Wait, Grandpa has a mullet?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Kevin Lewis. Brandy told me he went in there. But you guys are in, he wanted like an old school mullet, and you guys are in all like the high and tight and stuff. He's like, yeah, this isn't my kind of mullet.
Well, I can, we can adjust it,
Yeah.
We have him bring in a picture of old Billy Ray.
Yeah.
We'll dial that. We'll get him into that sex machine level right there,
on the mirror so he can just compare it.
Oh yeah. Riley's great. Riley's a great barber. He's fun to work with, and customers warm right up to him because he's an old Cornhusker. He's Riley Washington from the '92-'96 team.
I have no idea. I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know much either. I think he was a wingback. I keep having to ask, like, what did you play? Were you a wide receiver? It's like the one.
Quarterback or wide receiver?
Yeah, quarterback,
center,
wide receiver.
Center maybe, yeah.
Yeah, point guard? Were you a point guard? You're kind of short. You're probably a point guard. I think that's basketball, but that sounds right, Yeah, he was a hell of a... He was, I think he was saying the other day, he was talking to a track athlete from Midland College, and I think when he recruited, he was the fastest kid. He was the fastest high school senior in the nation when they recruited him. Don't quote me on that, but still buy a haircut from him.
Well, I mean... Let's be honest, the people are probably not going to fact check us on this.
Yeah.
But I look forward to you guys fact checking us. Please do if you want to.
Yeah, so it's fun. He's a good barber. He's good with those kids. He's got 5 of his own that he's raised, so he knows how to keep them in line and keep them going.
He's pretty chill, pretty cool personality.
Yeah, he's been a great asset to our shop, my shop. I work with him as I see it. He doesn't work for me by any means. He rents a chair and.
Yeah. Well, and Jackson's hooked. I think if maybe one of these days he'll remember Jackson. He's got a haircut at 5:30.
Well, I put it under your name. He was probably while I was cutting your hair going, this fucking Mike Early showed me this bitch didn't even come in.
Well, the first time we got a haircut there, he thought Jackson was his 5:30 or 6 o'clock or whatever. I don't know what time we got there, 5 o'clock. And the guy or the kid no-showed on him. And so he thought Jackson was that guy. And so he's all screwed up now because he thought that somebody no-showed on him.
Yeah, which is a tragedy. Don't ever do it.
Apparently that's really fricked up to do to your barber.
It is a little bit. You know. But we have the no-call, no-show shit list that keeps people in line, you know.
Yeah.
If you refuse to pay up, then you go on the public shame board and we post it. Just like the old bad checks policy back in the day, you know. They used to put them in a glass case in front of the grocery store. So everybody know in town that you bounced a check to the grocery store.
Yeah, you know, that's bouncing a check too is something that you can't do anymore. Or playing that shuffle game where you would deposit a check in the ATM on Friday night and it would advance you $100 and then you'd have over the weekend to come up with the money that you actually needed in order to do that. I never did that, but I've heard a lot of stories of people doing that. But
there was a guy in Marquette, Nebraska in the 80s, early 90s, and this is a thing called check kiting that was popular back in the day before computers. You ever hear about this? It was brilliant. I don't know who figured this out, but I wish I lived back then and I would totally do it.
Says a lot about your character.
Yeah. Well, you go to one bank and you start an account with you take $500 cash. Mm-hmm. You go start an account. Then you go drive 9 miles to the other town.
I think I
and use a check.
Yeah.
And go over there and start a checking account, right? And then you would and write a check to them to start the checking account off of that account with like $250 and go over and do it to a third bank. And then you would basically every week just be rotating checks and stopping by the bank and depositing these checks. And that $500 they would never ever catch it because that was back in the day. Yeah, they gotta take this check, and then somebody's probably going to run it back to that bank, make sure it cleared, transfer the money, put it in the book, pencil, write it down. Okay, now he's always got this. Well, if I remember right, I can't remember the guy's name, but if I remember right, there was a hell of a snowstorm, and the guy for 3 days, and the guy couldn't get to doing it, and the bank was like, "You have only had $500 floating around for like 18 years," and I mean, he was spending. I mean, he knew how to do it. He was.
What was he? How much did he actually owe?
Basically, he started with like $500
for free. Basically,
no, he got $500 for free over and over and over again because it just constantly perpetuating. It was always in deposit.
So he could always just keep writing hot checks.
Yeah, it's called check kiting. It was a pretty slick system.
Yeah, I heard about that. It was a snowstorm that he got busted on.
Yeah,
the whole shit show. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 4-day snowstorm. His truck wouldn't start. I
heard the modern version of that on like one of those YouTube shorts or whatever. This guy would use his credit card that got like 5% cash back or whatever, and so he would buy Western Unions or something with it. With the credit card, he would, after the fees, he would make 1% free and clear. So he'd basically buy a Western Union, make it out to the credit card company, pay itself off. And so he was making 1%, and he was doing this with huge amounts. And basically, he was just paying it off every single month or whatever with those and just getting the 1%. And
oh, brilliant.
He was making,
I wish I had the attention span to keep up on that.
$380,000 a year, doing that.
I would stub my toe out the door one day, like, "Oh God, I'm not doing this."
That's what he was doing. He was buying gift cards with it, and then using the gift cards to buy Western Unions to pay off
It's brilliant.
Pay it back, yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of those hustles that I personally know that. It's not that I don't have the moral fiber to do it.
I don't have the energy.
I don't have the intelligence to maintain it. At one point, I'd be like, "Oh, I'll just go to jail."
Fuck it, just take me to jail, haul me off.
I got all the cool stuff in the garage locked up. I'll be good. It'll still be there when I get back.
Okay, Hensley, you got anything you want to plug? Your social medias or
we got the barbershop, Hensley's Barbershop. I love talking about that. So yeah, definitely come get a haircut, beard trim, have a beer, hang out. Definitely No Coast Customs Rod Shop's a pretty rad place.
Hell yeah.
They do a great job, and any of your other sponsors are pretty quality, you know.
Yeah.
But no, not really too much plugging or stuff for me.
You know, I figure I'll give you an opportunity to, you know, plug your Instagram or something.
Oh yeah, it's Hensley, everything's Hensley's Barbershop. Google it up. Google that shit. Just Google that shit. We got online booking, you know, parking.
That's almost impossible to use the online booking.
Yeah, it's the best bullshit in town. It's the best bullshit in town, man. I swear to God.
I don't do it. I refuse to do it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after we're off camera, which you're going to, because you know what? I don't want to be your secretary. Let's just go ahead and have you do it, because friends don't ask friends to book their haircuts. I do that for seniors.
Who said we were friends? We'll just leave it at a business business acquaintance.
Good. Then book the fuck online. If you don't do it, that's my policy. Hey, if you don't want to book online, apparently somebody else will. So we're good.
All right. Well, at that, we'll leave it at that, I guess. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, comments, questions you want us to ask guests, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and we'll be sure to do that. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. I think I might have went cross-eyed a little bit there staring at the camera. Later.